Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to have a look at ADA. This is going to be a lower time frame video. There is a higher time frame video up above, so check that out for more information on the waves we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so in the previous video we discussed a couple of options here. We were looking for the potential of a breakaway here, but we actually lost this low at this 3502 and we've looked to break down now. And because of that fact, we need to be aware there is that potential that this could actually start to break down in a bigger way, but we're going to go over the way where we could actually still possibly see some upside come in here. So first we're going to talk about the triangle situation. We were talking about this as a bigger Y wave triangle from further back here, where this is A, B, C, and then we're actually looking for this C wave here. So now the typical zone we're looking for a C wave is actually here towards this 0.378 to this 0.3014. So if we do see price look to push down a little bit deeper here, potentially we could see the C wave come back into this trend line here, in which case what we'd then be looking for would be the potential of seeing a D wave to the upside and then an E wave, in which case we'd then be looking to reverse to the upside from this point. So we need to obviously get this D wave for more confirmation here, but the way that we're looking at this is a potential ABC pattern to the downside here. Now, if we are looking at this as a triangle, what we could also argue is that this could be a C wave that's more complex, where this is ABC for an X wave here, and then basically A, B, and C, and then we could actually look to complete as a zigzag with this last leg to the downside. So we're going to go into the minor wave counts in a second. Now, the other way that we were talking about this is that potentially we could actually still be looking for this B wave to be higher up here, where we could say that this is A, this is B, and then we see a C wave up. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. This would be a bigger triangle where we actually have this B wave up here, then a C, D, E, and this would just mean we drag sideways for a long period of time. So it's not my primary expectation, but we could actually see this play out. So we just need to see how the waves actually react in the future. Now, what I'm looking for as what my most likely idea of what's going on here is that we actually look to complete this W into this high here. Now, what we could have here then is an A, a B, and we're looking for that C wave, or W, X, and Y. Because it's an X wave, it can be pretty much anything that it wants to be. So I'm going to come down here into the smaller time frames, and we're going to discuss the internals of these waves. So the way I'm currently looking at this is as a W and X, and then we're treating this as a Y wave. Now, the Y wave can potentially look to come down here towards this 1-to-1, which would actually be here at this 0.2920. We have, however, come down past this 0.618. So some other areas of interest here would be this 786 sitting at this 3101, the 854 sitting here towards this 30 cent 40. Now we do have this target box over here between this area of this 30 cent 78 to this lower range here of this 28.73. What we could actually see is price move down into these levels, as we do have some naked points of control here. So towards the higher end here, we do have this 30 cent 53 and this 30 cent 44 as a daily and weekly naked point of control, which would actually tie into coming back into this low here. Now, if we do lose this low, the bullish standpoint is then invalidated, which we're going to go over in a second. But if we do move down here, we could still actually see price still move to the upside, just in a bigger corrective move. So we need to be aware there is still a potential for, as long as we continue to hold this low here of this 23.89, where we could see price actually get a reversal to the upside in a three-wave structure, looking for this as a Y wave. So we need to keep an eye on that. This is our target box here, and like I said, you know, if we do look to push down into our yellow target box here, this would actually bring us down closer towards this 0.618 area, which would be down here towards this 29.42 to this 28.91. Now, I would be keeping an eye on this lower naked point of control we've got here if we do actually look to push down deeper. Coming in a bit closer here and looking at the subwaves, we could potentially argue that this is just a zigzag in this Y wave, where we're looking for the potential that this is an A wave, this is a B wave, and then we're looking for this C wave to the downside. So we've actually come down already to this 1-to-1, so we need to be on the lookout for that potential of a reversal. Though really, until we actually take this high of this 33.09, we need to be cautious that there isn't some extension going on in here. If we did see another push to the downside, we were looking at this as a potential additional fifth wave. What we could actually see is price actually be pushed down into this lower range of this 30 cent 97 to this 30 cent 55, which actually tie into coming back into that channel. So I would be keeping an eye on those levels if we do continue to break down here. Now, the thing that we need to be cautious of here is that if we are potentially looking to count this in a 5-wave move to the downside, what it could mean is that the structure just isn't completed yet. So we discussed a couple of ideas where we were talking about the possibility of a flat here where this is A, B, and we're looking for this as a C wave. Now this is still viable. So as a expanding flat, what we are looking for is this zone of this 0.3224 to this 0.859. Now this 1.618 over here at this 2859 is a common target for an expanding flat, though we are coming into the zone where we're already coming into some of these levels where we could see price turn around. So this 30 cent 79 would be potentially an interesting one at this 1.382, because this would actually be bringing us back into this channel line that we have here. Alternatively, if we are arguing that this move still has some legs to go to the downside, what we could actually say is that this is a 1-2, this is a 1-2, and we're actually still looking to break down deeper. So what we would be looking for within this count is effectively the potential of having extension where this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're actually looking to push down much deeper here. Now if we do cross this 2929, this would tie into the idea of having an additional fourth and a fifth wave here, which could look to push us down towards this 2859 to this 2746. Now if we do actually come back out here, in this case, we'd be looking at this as 1, 2, 1, 2. So what we could actually see is an additional fourth wave and a fifth wave, which actually looks to push us down here towards this 2684 to this 2489. Now, if we do see a 5-wave move in this way, what we need to be cautious of is there is the potential that this could actually be looking to try and complete this fifth wave that we've got here within this count, where we have this as a fourth and we're looking for a fifth wave still to the downside. So the typical zone we'd actually look to target would be this 2059 to this 01604. Now if we do actually form a bigger 5-wave move down into these lower levels here, what we'd have to be cautious of is, first off, whether we have a truncation. If this is truncated, what this could mean is we actually see a pushback above this wave 4 in a 5-wave move and look to reverse in a bigger way. Alternatively, this could also become a wave 1 or an A wave, a B, and then we see a C wave to the downside. So it's going to be important that we watch this structure to see if we actually get a 5-wave decline actually develop here. The alternative way we were discussing this previously was talking about that possibility of a diagonal pattern. So this is still viable as well. And the way we would then count this is that within this count here, we'd have this as ABC for 1, this is a 2, ABC for 3, looking for a fourth and a fifth. Now, what we would be looking for here is that if this is actually completed and this is just A, B, and C into this low here of this 3142, what we need to be on the lookout for is the potential to see a 3-wave move to the upside. So the 0.618 of the wave 2 is here at this 03308, and then we'd be looking for that potential of another 3-wave move to the downside, which could look to potentially take us down towards this 2923 to this 2904 if we are using the 0.618 of the wave 3 here. Now, if we do cross above this 3426, that would mean we can't look at this as a diagonal anymore, because the wave 4 is not allowed to become bigger than the wave 2. So this is going to be our invalidation point for this count. Now, even though we haven't invalidated it, it is starting to look less likely. We did have that bullish count where from further back here, we're talking about this being a 1-2, and then counting this as an expanding diagonal here for a wave 1, and then looking for this as a wave 2. Now, we were talking about this level here, this 3171, or 73 rather, and we're saying, we don't really want to come much lower than this. Price is not reacting very strongly off this level, but technically speaking, as long as we hold this low of this 29 cents 76, this could still technically be viable. But what we would need to see, if this is the case, if this is 1-2-1-2, we'd need to see a much stronger move to the upside towards a 65.48 region. Let me just adjust this because I think it needs to go down a little bit. So the 62.90 would actually be our 1.618 now, and this would actually also adjust this fifth wave target if we are looking at it in this way. So what we would then be looking for is the potential of a third wave to the upside, looking for a fourth wave down towards this zone of this 48.20, and then a fifth wave up here towards the 73.71 to this 66.72. Now, like I said, because we've come down so deep here, it starts to become less likely that this is playing out. So I'm still thinking that we could still see some upside here, but I don't think that this is going to be 1-2-1-2. But really, until actually we take this low, we can't write it off. Now, if we do see this low break and then we see a move to the upside, we need to just be aware that that move to the upside is probably going to be corrective, where this is ABC or WXY, depending on how we want to count this move here. So just keep an eye on that. If we do see that move up, we need to seek, more evidence before we get too bullish, because we still are looking for potential drops here. So make sure that you watch that macro video. We have more details within there. When we did the last video, we said that the CPR was quite tightly spread here, and we can see that we actually have had this volatile move. Now we've actually come down past this R3 line, so this has met all the targets for this week. Now what we could look still to is the monthly here, and if we have a look at the monthly pivot points, what we can see is we've actually come down to this R1 line already. We've come past this R2 line. If we continue to reject to the downside here, this R3 line is going to be a very important level, because this is at this 30 cent. So this will be an important psychological level, and we could actually see price move down into this zone before looking for that possibility of a reversal to the upside. So I would be keeping an eye on that, as well as the potential of coming into this channel. If we do see price continue to break down here one more time, this 30 cent region is going to be an important level in my opinion. Though what we need to be careful of is that potential of that extension to the downside. Once this R3 is met, it doesn't necessarily mean price has to come back to the upside. It could just continue through it, just like it did on the weekly. However, if we do look to potentially reverse from this point, what we could see through the period of the remainder of the month is actually price be gravitated back towards these central CPR lines here at this 37.30, and then potentially up towards these S1, which would be this 39.83, this S2 at this 42.28, and this 44.83 as potential targets if we do look to find support above this and then look to reverse to the upside. Looking at the Ichimoku cloud here on the hourly, what we can see is that the cloud has built up above us. So what we need to be aware of is any kind of a three-wave move back into this cloud could signal a rejection and that continuation down. So we do have the conversion line, which is currently sitting at this 31.93 baseline up here towards this 33 cent region. If we just see a movement back up into this cloud towards this 33.15, or even higher up here towards this 34.98, in three-wave structure, we need to be cautious of that possibility of continuation to the downside. Now if I come on to the 4-hourly, we have a big gap between us and the cloud. We do have the conversion line, which I'd be keeping an eye on as a potential resistance zone at this 33.49, baseline up here at this 34.76, and then above us much higher up here towards this 37 cent is the cloud. Though we can see that the cloud on the 4-hourly is very thin here, so it's not difficult for price to move through this. Moving back up here to the 8-hourly, we can see that the conversion line and the baseline are way up here towards this 34.98. So even if we did see a move up into these levels, I would be cautious of these as turning into resistance before looking for potential to continue to the downside. If we did have to move up into this cloud, it's sitting towards this 37.18, and the higher end of it would be this 38.40. Moving up into this when it's red like this can always give us the potential for a rejection and continuation to the downside. The daily Ichimoku cloud is just starting to turn red here, but this is not a big deal because we only have a small cloud above us. Now we have the conversion line sitting here towards this 34.95, which I'd be keeping an eye on as a potential resistance point if we do look to continue to move to the upside here. And then higher up here above our green cloud, we do have the baseline, which is currently sitting towards this 38.73. If price can look to push back above this, possibly we could look to use this as support to slingshot ourselves out of this area. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.